Coach, I mean, spring game, what can you tell us? Who are you excited to see in action, kind of finally going at it there?
Well, we got a young freshman running back that came in, Brian Okoye. I'm looking forward to seeing him run the ball. He's done a really good job this spring. For a young guy coming in that he missed the fall because he was a senior in high school and graduated early. So I think he's a guy that has surprised us a little bit. We thought that he'd have a chance, but he's really come out and done a great job through our winter workouts and through spring so far. We got a lot of young defensive backs that we got to look at that have to step up. So we'll see what they can do. I guess under the lights in the spring game scenario. So pretty much that. I think our offensive line is really good, depth-wise, on every position is kind of what we're looking at. And we've got some young guys on defense that have had really good springs, but you never know what they do until you put them in a situation like what we're going to see Saturday night. So.
Obviously, Nick going to get the bulk of the starts there. I mean, he's been here forever. But who are some of the younger quarterbacks you're hoping to have a good night?
I think both Kyle Brown and Josh Colwell will get ample playing time, and we need to see. I think they both developed really well so far, but I think we need to see again in this type of situation. In the last two scrimmages, we've had them going live and put some people on them. We'll probably do the same this weekend, just to get them used to. It's different in practice when they're wearing a yellow shirt and they can't get hit, so they think they've got time, and all of a sudden you put people coming at them and it changes the dynamics of what they're looking at. So looking forward to seeing how they perform in that scenario as well.
You talk about situational football. Is there anything you guys do as coaches to kind of, I guess, maybe tell the players, like, hey, imagine it's this here, or whatever the situation is, to see how they'd react in said situation?
We do certain situations in practice, whether it's 1st and 10, 2nd and long, 3rd and short. Put the ball on the 40-yard line going in, or the 35, like a sudden change, a turnover of some sort. We've done some overtime type scenarios with them, so we tried to hit them all and put the chains out there for scrimmages, and then you look at film the next day and guys, don't you realize it's 3rd and 15 instead of 3rd and 2, and you're all creeped up on last scrimmage? No, so we do it in practice, then we really teach more of it on film as the situations come. So then we rehash those situations and try to get to them, let them know where they should be and understand the situation going on. Like, for example, defensive backs, when the ball's on the 15-yard line going in, you don't need to be out of there as quick in certain coverages because they don't have that room to go deep on you. So little things like that is what we try to stress going into the game with how we do it. So.
I got to mention, you guys know a lot of the starters at this point, but there's got to be some that are kind of fringe, like, hey, it's between these two guys. How big is a game like this for situations like that?
I think at the Division II level, you can sit there and say, I know who my starters are, but that's kind of changed with just in the last couple of weeks on our program with different things that have happened. So I think you got to go into it that no position is solidified, and so anybody can go, and there's still an opportunity to make a statement, make a name for themselves for us going into the fall, whether it's move up the depth chart, not necessarily to be a starter, but move up to where you're making some noise and force us to have to put you on special teams. And that's what I tell our players all the time. You want to play, force us to have to find a position for you to play because of what you're doing in practice and how you're doing it.
Who are some of the guys that impressed you thus far through the spring? Thought have had good springs.
I think Brandon Neal, corners, had a really good spring. I've been really impressed with Carson Outworth and Preston Suzuki at the safety. Brian Okoye, running back, has really impressed me. And then Shaq Brown, tight end, who was unable to play with us last year, has come on and done a really good job at that position. I'm trying to think, I think those guys are the ones that stand out to me more than anybody else right now.
And you've mentioned multiple times, I mean, obviously y'all's running game is strong. I mean, strong offensive line, lots of running backs to choose from. Would you say the identity is more power back, or is it pretty balanced between speed and power?
I think with Jared Compton, you get a mixture of both. I think that he can lower his shoulder and run you over, but he also is very good at making quick little movements and combination. I think Okoye is more of a power back, where he doesn't have the quickness that Jared has. And then he can lower his shoulder and go downhill. And then Isaiah Smallwood, I think our third back is, I wouldn't even say he's our third. I don't mean that as first, second, and third. He's a back that's going to play a lot. But I think he's picked it up real well. But he is a physical downhill runner as well. So I think we got three good downhill runners. I think Jared's the best one at making people miss. I think Isaiah and Brian would rather run somebody over than to make somebody miss, which is a good character to have for me.
We saw flashes out of Heston Marshall last year. What have you seen out of him?
I think Heston has built his frame, gotten stronger, to get more confidence. He's the guy that we want to get on the edge and let him run. I think he's still learning how to protect in the pass game as a running back. So we have to find situations. He's the guy that's going to be on the field somewhere. We just have to find the right spot for him to be as successful as he can be, and for us to be as successful as he can be.
All right, give us the spiel. Hype up the game for Saturday. Get the folks out there.
Well, we're having a draft Friday morning. So, again, Coach Kozak, our strength coach, and Luke Casper, our trainer, will be the honorary head coaches. We're dividing every group up into what we think could be, if they're drafted, we think would be a fair assessment for our starter with the second team and so forth. And we're going to play it like a game. And last year we did that, and it got really heated and a nice little rivalry. I'm working on the winning team that we'll have brisket here and brisket sandwiches for the winning team and hot dogs for the losing team right after the game. So trying to put a little reward in there for those that win the game. The whole key is that we don't get hurt. We take care of each other, and we stress that all throughout the spring. But it's fun to add a little bit to it. We'll throw some wrenches in there like we did last year in the punt game. We will not kick off. We will not return punts. I'll have some special guests returning punts, catching punts to see where the ball gets placed. So it should be kind of fun, interesting. But again, these kids got to go out there and they got to prove themselves one more time before we get going in the summer and the fall. And again, make a name for themselves. So we'll make it as fun as we can, and we'll award our spring awards at halftime for the crowd to hear. And I'll have a mic on, so you never know what might come out of my mouth during the game. So,
Mom and Dad gonna be there?
Mom and Dad will not be there, so I will have the on-off switch handy on my thumb. So, no, we're looking forward to it. Hopefully, get a crowd out here. Like I said, to get softball playing Friday night, and us on Saturday night, and softball again on Sunday night. So, it should be a good weekend to come out.
7 o'clock.
6 o'clock kickoff.
6 o'clock kickoff.
Well, 6 o'clock ball snap, since we're not kicking off. 6 o'clock ball snap. So, but yeah, I think come out and have a good time at the game, and make the most of your Saturday evening. Should be a nice evening.
Free